Discover the intriguing story behind this magical fairy-like retreat hidden in the forest.
I describe it as rustic, and it has an outhouse, which is scary for some people.
And how many people can boast about having their own private bridge to paradise? These two can.
There's very, very few islands, and this may be the only island connected by bridge to the mainland. It's small enough that you don't feel like you're on an island, you actually feel like you're in a houseboat.
And while the name remains the same, this family's dream cottage finally became a reality.
Reverie is a state of mind, and that to me is what this place is.
My name is Candace, and this is my retreat.
No, this isn't Hansel and Gretel's cottage, though this enchanting place does look like something out of a fairy tale. Tucked away in the woods of a West Coast island, literally hidden from view, this eclectic, colorful hodgepodge of buildings is called the Black Cat, so named after a beloved cat once owned by Candace's late partner, Diana.
I never would have found that the Black Cat if I hadn't met Diana on this island. Diana was an artist primarily, and this is where she came to do her art. We were together for 20 years. We have a wonderful son, and sadly she died of pancreatic cancer in 2008. And this place lives on and really has become my retreat.
For Candace Crossan, a senior flight attendant who uses this retreat to decompress from her busy jet-set life, it's a very special place, full of memories.
This wonderful retreat provides an antidote to a very, very intense, busy life. My job takes me around the world: Hong Kong, Sydney, Australia, Beijing, Copenhagen. It's beautiful, it's intense, it's 5-star hotels all the way. And then I come here to solitude and the wildlife, enchantment and quiet.
When Candace first came to the Black Cat, it was rustic. Basically an artist's shed in the woods with no water, no heat, and no power. She and Diana spent years renovating and giving the Black Cat a new life.
25 years hence, it's transformed. So when people visit the Black Cat, the first place they see is the back deck, which is full of color and cushions, lots of seating areas, and the use of the mirrors which reflect the light. Now let me show you the beautiful dining room. The inspiration came when we needed to have a place where we could all be together and eat, but we wanted something that was light and airy, and the Japanese dining room was born. It's a Japanese idea to have rooms within rooms within rooms and to incorporate the outside. It also houses the artwork and, as you can see, many mirrors, which makes it even lighter and brighter. And here we are on the other deck. It's like an outdoor living room. It's one of my favorite places. It's a wonderful place to relax, and let me show you. After a flight, this is exactly how it should be. This is me definitely enjoying the retreat experience. This is my happy spot. And this, unbelievably, is the original tool shed. This is the original structure. It did not look anything like this, but it's transformed. Let me show you. So this is the original Black Cat cabin. This is where I really live. The bed, the chair, the teeny tiny kitchen. It was an unusual space to begin with, but very much an artist's space. One of the things I learned about with living with an artist is that having things perfectly painted or displayed was not something that she adhered to. She used the walls like some people use corkboard. They're jewelry pieces, and much of Diana's art has been displayed. Actually, this is a wonderful picture of Diana in her studio working. I love this space. At first it was daunting, especially when she died. How would I be in this space without her? And then I'd remember these wonderful mornings when Diana would be with a cup of tea and her book in the bed, just looking out the window and saying, this is absolutely the best experience one can have. Now here I am, in the bed with my cup of tea and my favorite book, looking out the same window. I absolutely understand what she was talking about. She's right. I wanted a 5-star hotel and Diana wanted the flora and fauna. She wanted solitude, and somehow we've met in the middle. We have a beautiful balance.
Connected to the dining room is yet another cozy and colorful space, adding to the magic of the Black Cat.
And this is the studio area. An unusual configuration of color and fabric and paintings. So you'll notice that there are 2 beds in here. This is Kemble's loft on top, and then this is a guest room. This is called the green room, and this bed is always ready and always made for any unexpected guests. Sometimes I'm the guest. Because of course the French doors open up and it's a wonderful place just to read. You look right into the trees. It's like being in a tree house, actually, the green room. And this is the magnificent bathhouse. Let me show you inside. This is a fabulous structure. This is a beautiful place to relax and enjoy and put the candles on and be open to the elements. So just to give you the geography of the whole retreat area, this is the cabin where I sleep, this is the bathhouse, and this is the outhouse. So this can be a really quick trip when it's cold. I don't mind. When I first met Diana, and I looked at the outhouse and she said, "Back up." Come on. It makes for character. This is a magical place. It's a wonderful word for it. There's something about the quiet and the odd configuration of the rooms and the spaces. It's inspiring. When I come up here, I really take time to decompress and just enjoy myself. It's not really a place to run around. The world is a place to run around, and it's taken me a long time to put on the brakes and just be here. It's kind of like a 5-star tree house. I think Diana and I, both of us, got what we wanted.
What happens when your private island retreat is so intriguing that it draws hordes of uninvited visitors?
We had to put the gate in place to prevent the tourists from standing on the bridge. I'm Fred.
And I'm Chris.
And this is our retreat.
Here's a sight you don't see every day. A small private island that's almost all house, and with a beautiful footbridge connecting it to the shore. When Fred and Christine first bought this island, it looked nothing like it does now. It took them 3 years to tear down the old cottage, then rebuild and transform it into this stunning and very unique retreat.
First of all, they do not let people build on islands that are smaller than 2 acres. And so the only way you can build a nice place on an existing island is with a grandfather clause, which allows you to stay on the existing footprint.
And the couple did almost all of the design, construction, and landscaping work themselves.
We didn't hire any architects. My background, my dad's an electrician, so I grew up in the trades where I knew all about plumbing, electrical, building inspections, building code. So we built it just from scratch.
All the neighbors around here always say to us, "Do you guys ever stop?" And it's like, oh, not really, because we love it.
I think life for us is about the journey more than the destination. I think we enjoy the process of building more than we do sitting back and enjoying.
I'm extremely proud of how it turned out.
The grandfather clause allowed Fred and Chris to rebuild and improve on the existing footprint, as long as they kept the dimensions of the original structure.
The cottage was a single-story cottage, and because we couldn't increase the size, we actually increased this by going up. And when you go inside, you'll see how it opens up the space. This is our wraparound deck. It goes 2/3 of the way around the island. And now this is the backside of our cottage with our island boathouse where I keep my main boat. Over here is the mainland boathouse, which has a better view of the bridge coming over from the mainland. The bridge is a real big attraction for the area, and because it's such an attraction, we get lots and lots of people stop and take photographs either by boat or by car. And they get so attracted to the bridge that they tend to come over, park at the end, and walk over the bridge, fish off the bridge. We even have wedding parties standing on the bridge for photography, just because it's a beautiful scene for weddings. People come across all the time. My parents are knocking on the door when we're not expecting them. All the advantages of having a bridge take away your privacy. The neat thing about this little island is it's small enough that you don't feel like you're on an island, you actually feel like you're in a houseboat. Anywhere within the cottage or on the dock, you have water 360 degrees around you, and the only point of contact to the mainland is the bridge.
And the retreat's interiors were designed with this fact in mind, with its towering ceiling height and light open feel.
As you can see, this is an open concept spot. The main goal here was tons of window, nothing to obstruct our views, very comfortable seating. It was important for us to be able to use this cottage year-round, so we made sure we put in a fireplace. Our favorite spot, and most of our guests' favorite spot to sit in, is in this area. I generally have my morning cup of coffee with my husband sitting right here, and we absolutely love it. When you sit on this level at the cottage, you always feel like you're just floating on a houseboat. One of the most important factors of the cottage was to maximize how much light we had here. So we blew out as many windows as we could possibly do. And it really adds to the houseboat feel here.
The wraparound stairs behind the massive fireplace take you to the second floor.
Up here we have 3 bedrooms and 1 bathroom and this spectacular view. We love the openness of the space up here. We love that you can see the fireplace from the bottom to the top.
And we basically made bedrooms not only off to the sides, but as you can see, you can go up to the loft, and we have storage even at the very top level. With the open concept, it gives you a very good example of a small footprint, very open space, lots of windows, so you get the feeling like you're in a large property even though it's fairly small.
And this is our master bedroom.
The bedroom has 16-foot ceilings, large windows, an outside balcony where you can swing over, sit on the couch and have a coffee in the morning, and of course a TV where you can relax and watch Monday Night Football and without straining your neck.
Our exposure here in the bedroom is southeast, so every morning you wake up with the sun and it's quite beautiful. I don't know what it is about water. There's just something about being on water that changes everything.
Anything worth having, sometimes you have to do a lot of work to get there, but it's been a real interesting experience to get through all the process, but at the same time, totally enjoyed not just the design of the building, but personally building it. Well, for me, it's an exciting place because it's where I grew up. I grew up my whole life on the river, just a few miles from here. So taking an existing property, fixing it up, being what I consider back home is a lot of fun. At the same time, just being on the river, relaxing either just ourselves or with close friends and family, we quite enjoy it.
We never think about anything other than being here. We sort of forget about day-to-day life and just enjoy it here.
To get their dream retreat, this family decided to tear down the old cottage and start over from scratch.
We wanted to be on this spot with the views and with the same feelings that we'd had in the old cottage. I'm Barb.
And I'm Wayne.
And this is our retreat.
What does a family do when they've outgrown their cottage but can't let go of the memories attached to it? They knock down the old one and build a bigger, better new one, but keep the details that pay homage to the past in place.
We initially actually were exposed to this property in 1978, and when 1982 we purchased it. It was a small 2-bedroom cottage, which suited us when we had just 2 children. But as the family grew, we realized that we needed more space. So we made the decision to build.
Well, when we decided to rebuild, it was very much that we wanted to be on this spot with the views and with the same feelings that we'd had in the old cottage. So I think we achieved what we were setting out to achieve.
They lovingly took the heart and soul of the original building and transplanted it into the new one. And what they ended up with was something special.
The name of the cottage is Reverie, and that was a name that I gave the cottage. And I think Barb questioned at the time, what is that? And I said, well, reverie is a state of mind. And that to me is what this place is. It's a state of mind and a place to go to.
So hi, welcome to Reverie. As you can see, we have a major statement piece here, our chandelier. That was designed and made in Mexico and sent up. So this is what I would call our great room, and it's where everything happens and where we dine and so on. It truly is a gathering spot for the family. This is a fireplace that we love, congregate around. Of course, there's a focal point in the room. I mean, we love it. I think what you see in this area is a whole cornucopia of what I really love in design, whether it's French, whether it's Mexican, whether it's Canadian. And so it all comes together to give a really warm, welcoming feel to the room. So let me take you into our dining area. And this is a great old table. I hate to say it, but again from Mexico, but it was in the old cottage. And with this washed blue paint, I think it works really, really well. Because my nickname is Bee, we even have the little bees, which are, of course, for me. The table, the older chandelier, and so on, they're all from the old cottage. And so every time we sit here, of course, it's just more memories. Oh, I really do. I love our kitchen. Without a doubt, it is a great cottage kitchen. Lots of room to sit around the island. Lots of room for food prep. The kids love to cook, and so I'm off the hook when they're here. And this is our master bedroom. Here we have a real blue influence, another of my things that I love so much. We have the beadboard walls so that you can see that's the cottage influence. The one thing that I haven't talked about is our wonderful flooring. And this is the recycled hemlock flooring, and so it gives a wonderful old patina to the rooms in the cottage. And then, of course, when we wake up in the morning, the view is really quite lovely.
And the lower level decor? Definitely a little more masculine.
I guess these days it's called the man cave.
Barb and Wayne have 3 grown sons, 2 grandkids, and a large network of friends and family that they love to host and entertain. So when they outgrew their first cottage, they just built a bigger, better version on the same spot. Upstairs definitely showcases Barb's design style, but downstairs is Wayne's domain, and more like the original cabin.
So here we are at our lower level. I guess these days it's called the man cave. It's quite eclectic, as a matter of fact. The couch, many of the chairs, the end tables, the lamps, and so on come from the old cottage. This chair was a chair of my father's in his home. So lots of interesting memories and things here. But the focus, I think, for this room, for me anyway, is this fireplace. The most meaningful thing in this cottage is probably the fireplace downstairs, because it comes from the old place. That's the heritage of this cottage. And I like to sit on the old couch that I sat in the old cottage. From this position, I can watch my fire, I can look at the lake, and everything that is important to me here is here in one room.
The lower level also features extra bedrooms for family and guests, and one very fun and colorful bathroom.
This is a bathroom that certainly showcases my love of color, and it also showcases my love of folk art. Love the colors, love the whimsy, love the creativity. I just admire what people do with found objects. So this is where we spend the bulk of our time in the summer. This wonderful porch, totally screened in, beautiful views of the lake, great area for conversation, and then of course summer dining down at the other end of the porch, which we love. So when it's lovely and sunny and warm, we spend many a wonderful evening out here dining. Couldn't be nicer, al fresco, and of course, life is good at the lake.
Outside, there are 2 smaller buildings original to the property. A 9x12 studio deemed the Vinyl Cafe is used as a hangout spot for the kids. And an old bunkie, where Barb actually lived during the construction of the new house.
And this is our bunkie. Love it. Quintessential cottage country living, all sorts of memories. You know, the boys' paddles on the wall, my father's trunk that he took to war and thankfully brought back. little kitchen from the old cottage that we still use, you know. And then, of course, this delightful little floor here that we have with the painted fishing lures on it, which gives a real cottagey feeling as well. People fight to be out here. They love it. This is where they want to be. It's a great little spot, and I'm so glad we kept it, so glad. This is a very special little place.
And there's so much to do here. Everybody except for myself tends to be a cook, so lots of cooking goes on. We play board games. Winner! We play games, which is a classic cottage activity anyway.
But on a good day, we do a lot of water sports and a lot of time spent down on the beach. We've got the fireplaces, and it's wonderful any time of the year, as far as we're concerned.
We'd like to see this cottage be a legacy to the family. My father's ashes actually are scattered on the lake just in front of our cottage. We have a condo in the city where we both work. And I always said that if it came to push or shove, if I had to give up one or the other, I'd give up the city and move here permanently.
I'm Joe Brennan, and this is our retreat.
As a custom home builder, Joe Brennan has designed and built luxury private homes for clients in the US, Canada, and the Bahamas. So when it came time to build his own private retreat, he and partner Danny drew from their own experience and spared little expense.
We design and build houses, so for me to design and build my own place is fantastic. Danny and I bought an island, it's a 5-acre island. The name of the island is Shanty Island because the people that bought it 70 years ago had a little shack, and so they decided this was a shanty and they call it Shanty Island. Now we've changed the scope of the shack a little bit, and so we call it Shantasy Island, which is kind of fun. Our friends get a kick out of that.
Joe and Danny decided to build in the Thousand Islands, a unique archipelago of over 1,800 small islands that straddle the U.S. and Canadian border along the St. Lawrence River.
I had no idea this area existed. I started coming up here with our friends, and just every time we came back, we just got so excited about the boating and about the island. It's about a 10-minute ride from the marina to the island, and it's just one of the best parts of being in the Thousand Islands. Owning an island is you feel like you've just bought your little chunk of the world, and it's private and it's individual and it's a kingdom. It's fantastic.
The house is designed like a long bungalow, with the two wings connected in the center by a spacious and bright entranceway with river views on both sides. The one side houses the kitchen, dining, and living room areas, and the other, a library and master bedroom suite.
We've just arrived at the front entry. Welcome, come in, and we can walk right through and dive in the river, or we can look at the house. As you walk in, what I want to accomplish that you are really just walking through a covered space from one part of the river to the next. And as you see, the river comes and opens right here. Come into the library. So it was very hard for me to decide how to do a country library. It's all about the river and the water. So I thought, okay, if I was on a sailboat, what would I do? So it's all high gloss mahogany and white ceiling. It's much more contemporary than the rest of the house. It's sophisticated, but I still think it feels a bit rustic and country-esque. We're now coming into the bedroom pavilion, which is a separate structure separated by a glass connection. So it feels like a separate pavilion. It was really about just indoor-outdoor. How can I be in a room and feel like I'm outdoors? And very light. I love light. Now the master bathroom and bedroom are really modeled after some of the experiences we had at resorts around the world. Again, larger spaces, more interesting, relaxed feeling. We have curtains, we never close them. No one's around, no one can see. There's a shower here that actually has a door to the outside. And you walk outside, and this is the outdoor shower, which is fantastic because 90% of the time you just want to shower outside.
And to the other side of the entrance hall is the living room, with a custom-built stone fireplace at its center.
This is the wall that got us in trouble. It was just supposed to be this amount of stone on this mantle. We thought, oh my God, this would be great to do on the outside of the house. So this was the initial inspiration to build the whole house in dry set stone. And we started cleaning up the island. We found all these loose rocks everywhere. We put them in a pile thinking, okay, this is great. This is enough for a fireplace inside. Then the pile got bigger and we thought, oh man, this is really great. We can build a wall. I wanted the house to be on a bit of a platform so that it was level because it was all very rolling and hilly. And the rocks just kept coming and coming and coming. And so we started using the rocks to build the house. So I've never in my life done that, where you could bend over, pick up the building material and build the house with you. So for a builder, it's amazing. Coming into the dining area off the great room, it's open on 3 sides, lots and lots of glass. Glass to the garden, glass to the river on the other side, and glass to the terrace outside. This is the kitchen pavilion, which is a separate structure connected to the main house. We did it as a functioning kitchen where we could serve 10 to 20 people at a time. Big and functional, big island, lots and lots of prep space, lots and lots of utensils, lots and lots of stuff to smash and eat. It's fantastic. I love this kitchen.
Joe and Danny employ a personal chef in the summer and enjoy many delicious meals with ingredients right from their own vegetable garden. At every opportunity, they eat outdoors. Who wouldn't in a setting like this?
This is our terrace off of the kitchen. It's really our kitchen family room. So there's an outdoor family room and there's an indoor family room, which is a screen porch. It's just great. You can see it's really sunny today. It faces south and southwest, and full sun all day, so lots of umbrellas.
In addition to the main house, the property features 3 boathouses, a gym facility housed in a separate bunkie, and a luxurious second cottage designed to give guests their own private space.
This is the guest cottage. Welcome. It's a 2-bedroom cottage, first floor and second floor. We're on the first floor. There is a bedroom here and a bathroom here, and it's modeled on a great private suite in the woods. People love staying here because the fireplace, the proximity to the water. It's only 35 feet from the water. We're on a cliff. It's just amazing. There's actually a place you can run out and jump off into 40-foot water. So it's really, really a great place to hang out on your own. We feel so different here because of the energy of the river. We're here every week, at least from April till October. So we'll try and spend 2 or 3 days. I love it. I love it. I love it. You just feel so amazing to be on the water. It means serenity. It means relaxation. It means entertaining friends. It means quiet, reading, just hanging out at the dock. It's just such great downtime. It's amazing.
Meanwhile, up in the mountains of Whistler, BC, some things change and some things remain the same.
I get a lot of friction from the kids that I should update, but I quite like the way it is. I'm Dan.
And I'm Dean. And this is our retreat.
This is Whistler, in British Columbia, Canada, a bustling resort town that has grown into a world-class destination with over 2 million annual visitors and was host for the 2010 Winter Olympic Games. Dan Siemens has watched Whistler grow. When he bought this cabin, the town center didn't even exist. 35 years later, Whistler has changed a lot, but Dan's retreat has not. So get ready as Dan and his son Dean take us on a journey back to
1978. When we got this cabin, it was probably the biggest in Whistler at the time. We've tried to keep it basically the same as it was back in 1978.
I think once or twice we've discussed changing a few things or remodeling and tearing it down, and it's always gone in a big circle back to the fact that we like it the way that it is.
So here we are. This is it. This is our cabin at Whistler. Fireplace is still the same. The couches are still the same. Old table. A beautiful shag carpet. This carpet is unreal. It's spilled many a bowl of spaghetti in there with the kids. Doesn't show a thing. Yeah, I think the shag carpet will stay here as long as I'm around. They can wrap me up in it in the end.
And as long as the shag stays, I'm guessing so will the lava lamp.
That's one of the old originals, that lava lamp. I think that's, I don't know if they're around anymore, but they used to be quite a popular item. My daughter got an artist to do our Whistler cabin. That's it from the outside. That's how it looks in the wintertime.
Reminders of the old Whistler can be found in every corner of this cabin, including this old-school chairlift.
I worked on Little Red Chair one year as a lifty, and when they shut that chair down, we bought one of them to put inside the cabin.
This is one of the old original. I welded some legs onto it so we got a chair out of it. The young kids like this.
The dining room table and the kitchen are also classic 1970s. Remember when avocado green counters were all the rage?
And this is sort of the old kitchen. Things have not changed here much except a few modern appliances.
We put in a dishwasher.
Yes. Added a dishwasher and a new fridge, but
Yeah.
other than that.
Other than that, it's remained pretty much the same too.
Yeah. Still got the old original telephone. The grandkids like making phone calls out of that. As you can see, the curtains are still the same as they were back in 1978. The old wallpaper. I get a lot of friction from the kids that I should update, but I quite like the way it is.
I like that it hasn't changed.
And the 70s vibe doesn't stop there. Wait till you see the master bedroom.
And this is where the action is.
Red shag and retro wallpaper? Check. Velvet blue bedding? Check. Mirrored headboard? Check. And the best part?
Still got its old original 8-track. Still plays music as it did back in 1975, 78.
Yes, the bed has a built-in 8-track player. And if anyone is still confused, pay attention.
These play music. This one here automatically came with the car because the car had an 8-track built into it. Just like this. Still plays. It was just very unique at that time. My kids all make fun of it all the time.
The cabin can sleep 12 people. 2 here and 10 upstairs. That is if you don't mind bunk beds.
The kids love them. Adults love the bunks. Everybody that comes into the cabin, when they look at the beds, they go, "Oh, there's a bed up there. I want that one."
Avid skier and octogenarian Dan Siemens prefers his cabin as is. Circa 1978. 8-track player, orange shag, and all.
Okay, so let's follow the shag carpet and I'll show you the upper level. And this is one of the bunk rooms. The legendary upper bunk that everybody wants to be in is this one up here. They get a great view out the window. As you can see, each one has its privacy. It has its own curtain that can be pulled across.
That triple top bunk is a long way up, and down for that matter. Has anyone ever fallen out?
Yes, we have had people fall out of the top bunk bed, usually after a little too much entertainment the night before. I've at times put up railing on the side here so the adults don't fall out more so than the children.
When Dean was a kid, this was known as the girls' bunk room. And across the hall, you guessed it,
This is the boys' bunk room, and this was my bed. And in fact, I still like coming in here and sleeping. This is a great place. Everybody that comes into the cabin, when they look at the beds, they go, "Oh, there's a bed up there. I want that one." That's the best part. People, they talk about the triple bunk beds and the shag carpet. They like that. They like that part of it.
and likely the other big attraction is Dan himself. At 85, he's been skiing for almost 70 years. This is one impressive octogenarian.
Yeah, that's me skiing in Dubai, indoor, 2 years ago. It was minus 10 inside and 102 outside. Oh, that's an old original picture of me. That was taken in New Zealand back in 1952, and those were the skis that I had with me at the time. I haven't skied on those for a long time.
Dan and his wife Judy raised 4 kids in this cabin, and they all grew up loving skiing as much as their dad.
My dad loves to ski. He loves to ski with the kids. I don't think anything made him happier than skiing down the hill and having the 4 of us trailing behind him. First run, we'd open up the curtains if there was fresh snow. Dad would have his skis on before everybody else. He'd put them on down in the boot room, ski down the stairs, right under the chairlift. He'd be there, first person in line, ready to ski for the day, and we'd shut the mountain down.
Now we have the grandkids.
Now we got more kids trailing behind us. There's another 6 of them trailing behind. There's Grandpa, the 4 of us, and then the 6 grandchildren. This used to be all forested area when we first moved here. There are no houses at all, and there's a track which you could ski down to the gondola at the bottom.
And speaking of gondola,
This behind me is the old Whistler gondola that was taken out probably in 1991, 92. This is the key that they used to open this door. 4 people would get in, slam the door, and lock you in. And they'd unlock you at the top. Oh yeah, we did many a ride up and down on that. Well, I feel at home here because it's as it always was. My son-in-law, when he first came here, as I say 10 years ago, thought that I was mad. Why doesn't that guy update? After 10 years, he said to me only last week, I'm sure glad you never changed anything. So as you get older, you appreciate the past. I just can't describe the good times we've had up here. And I come up here with my kids, and I can now do the things that my dad did with me as a kid growing up here. It's a great place to come.
from ship to shore. Check out the move this couple made after pulling up anchor for good.
I'm Penny.
And I'm Bob.
And this is our retreat.
For most of their lives, this was Bob and Penny Gayton's retreat of choice. But as their kids got older and the family grew, the boat simply became too small. They didn't want to give up their ocean life completely, so they moved ashore and dropped anchor here at this stunning waterfront retreat.
We built this after we had many years of boating. We're sort of boat people. We were born on the coast and we've been around boats. Our kids are also into boats.
We realized that as the grandchildren started to come along, the boat's not big enough, and so we either step up in size or get to land and off the sea, and that's when we decided to build this.
They designed and built this impressive getaway, and it now acts as a gathering place for family. But do they ever miss their time at sea?
Bob doesn't. I would answer for you.
I'm done with that part of the life and moved on to this.
So this is the front of our house. It's really quite unassuming and doesn't really prepare you for what's inside. So come on in and you'll see what's here. And this is what we designed the house around, the view. When people walk in here, this is a surprise. They're not expecting to see this at all. The water, the wood, everything. We love it. Bob and I don't live up here. We tend to live downstairs.
The way the house is designed, the upstairs is where the kids go, and the downstairs is where we go.
With 7 busy grandchildren, this design allows Penny and Bob to keep all the noise upstairs while maintaining a quiet downstairs floor for themselves.
And this is where we live, all on this floor. We don't have to go upstairs. We have this open area, kitchen, laundry, storage. We've got it all here. And this is where Bob and I spend a lot of our time. I had these lovely comfy chairs made so that they swivel around and we can look out and enjoy the view. And I do have to remind myself every 5 or 10 minutes to stop and look up and take it all in.
The Gaytons' yard features an outdoor kitchen, a shower, a playhouse for the kids, and a rocky stretch of beach, perfect for long walks.
The good thing about this beach, you've got about 1.5 miles you can walk along here at mid to low tide and just go and go and go. And we love to walk the beach.
Other activities include bike rides, playing with their dog Molly, and relaxing with a glass of wine on the front deck.
There is no shortage of things to do here at the beach house.
The Gaytons purchased this property 5 years ago and spent a year coming up with the post and beam design of the house. To them, it was important to try and repurpose wood that was available on the lot.
The wood on this staircase came from a large Douglas fir that was on this property, and we had it dried, killed, dried, cut, and here we have a staircase. All of these steps are from the big Douglas fir. This big side piece here, both sides from the same beautiful tree that we had. And there were also some cedars on this property. They were treated the same way, cut up, and they were used for some of the ceiling work inside the house and outside the house.
And this is our master bedroom where we live. No need to go upstairs. We can come in here. We have the hot tub outside. We have the bathroom suite down there. And we're really we can hide away in here and be self-sufficient. It's just a very cozy, warm spot. And this room is multifunctional. It was intended to be the children's playroom with all the toys, and it was for my sanity as much as for the children having a place of their own. And it's multifunctional because now it is a bedroom for 3 little girls sometimes. 1, 2, and down here the littlest one goes in here. So we have 3 of them. And this was a surprise we found the other day from our granddaughter Sadie, who wrote this little note. Thank you so much for this wonderful house. I am so glad you are my grandparents. Love, Sadie. That's so cute, I don't want to take it off.
Now, if you want to talk about retreats, this is my retreat. My retreat because this is my office. Here's where I have my computer, I have my printer, I can scan things to the office, and here's my deck. Here's my view. Now look at that, I've got the best view in the whole place. And over here, I have a telescope. Now the kids, I'll lower it for the kids, but we can see boats going by and the wave action, even eagles sitting down here. Works very nicely.
Hi, I'm John, and who are you?
Oh, I'm Beverly, and this is our retreat.
This striking cliffside cabin belongs to the award-winning Canadian writer John McLaughlin Gray and his wife Beverly Gray. Though its location is stunning, perched high over a spectacular ocean inlet on the west coast of British Columbia, Canada, the geography does have its challenges.
It's a cliff. It's a difficult access. It's not fun in that sense, and carrying stuff down the hill, that's a whole other story, but really it's all about the view.
I mean, it was this incredible view, and you could sit and look at it forever.
The Grays bought this cabin about 20 years ago. The original owner, a Swedish man, was as interesting as the place itself.
Johannes Peterson was the first person who owned this place. He built it in the late 50s. And I don't understand him. I mean, he liked to pile rock. He liked to make rock walls. So the entire property is really sort of terraced. Yes, thank you. The house is sitting on this incredible rock wall. And if you look way the hill up there where the light's sort of trickling, that's where we park. And then if you didn't have this path and my steps, you would plummet. You would just kind of plummet in stages down to here, and then you would continue to plummet down there. A long, long way. It really, really, really is a cliff.
Needless to say, this was not what made them fall in love with the place.
It's all about sitting on this deck at different times of the day and watching life pass you by. And there's so much to see. There are boats, there are planes, there are animals. It's extraordinary. There's so much happening. You never, ever, ever get tired or bored.
If you got tired of this view, you would have to, you'd have to be dead.
The cabin itself is a bit of a hodgepodge, which John and Beverly find charming.
Technically, this cabin is a modified A-frame. It's one of those places that sort of you build it as you go along. There is no style in the sense that anyone looked over and decided it would look like this. It just was, he just built it as he went along, the first guy.
The inside, however, is more unified.
Okay, so this is the dining room. We've had many great potluck dinners here.
This dining area is part of the main floor and directly adjacent to the kitchen. Then the cabin opens up to reveal a split-level design with a sunken living room and a loft bedroom up above. With Persian rugs on the floors and original art on the walls, this simple, cozy, and comfortable room is where they spend most of their time.
This is the living room. We have couches on either side. There's lots of space and a great sense of being able to look outside at this great panoramic view. And of course the magnificent stone wall, which was built by the original owner. And this couch is one of the places where John will often be found sitting exactly where he is with his legs crossed
I very seldom move from this spot. It's very hard to explain to Beverly, and I wish somebody would make it clear to her that when a writer is lying on the couch with his eyes closed, he's working.
Oh yeah, he's been saying that for a long time. It's true.
And of course, writing is John Gray's passion and his livelihood. Over the years, he's written and composed award-winning material for stage, television, radio, and print. These days, he's a novelist.
I write crime novels, so they're plot-based, and it takes a year to figure out the plot of a novel. So you'll be jotting things down for a while, and then you'll go and you'll pound nails for a while. And there's the two activities. It's sort of fit. They sort of work together.
But the Gray's Retreat is mostly a place for them to relax and do as little as possible, which for them means reading. Lots of reading. And in many favorite spots around the cabin.
So this is the bedroom. It's our sanctuary. It's a really big room, so you have this great sense of space, for us anyway. The high ceilings, the funny angles, the great window behind the bed, the little deck that allows us to sit there and read. The house, as John said, is a modified A-frame, and then there's a little A-frame here, and there's all those other angles there. It's a funny shape, but there's something very comforting about the shape because it's unusual. It's not a square box. These windows are actually 6 doors. They're not windows at all. And they were placed there strategically, and it was the best way of getting a whole bunch of window space and light coming into the house. When you're lying in bed, you can see the view, you can hear the water lapping on the shore. It's the most wonderful place to be.
The second floor used to have 3 small bedrooms until they renovated and opened it up. So where do their guests sleep?
This used to be the woodshed until we cleaned out the house, and now it's the world's smallest bedroom, with what you would call a roomette. It's a homage to a railway sleeping car, where you lie beside the window and you know, watch the world go by.
It's not so great in the winter, but it's cozy in the summertime.
And their thoughts on the epic journey between the cabin and the road up above?
We call it 150 paces because it is. There's some wooden stairs, and there's some paths and some hairpin turns, and you try to make sure that you don't make more than one trip to get down the hill. We considered it's keeping us in good shape.
But of course, nothing up here trumps the view they love so much. And depending on light, weather, time of day, it's constantly changing.
It'll be bright, it'll be cloudy, and it's true, it's ever changing. So there's always so much to see. But the best time of the day is the sunset.
Yeah, we call it the show.
The colors of the clouds, sometimes they're so outrageous in color. You'll see the sky will be bright orange or bright pink or blue. The sunsets are magnificent.
You come here, and you come here for 3 days, and you go back home, and you feel like you've been away a lot longer than you really have. That's really, really great. But the other is the idea of it, knowing it's there. You can go there anytime you want, you know? And it's a little like sort of an open window that's just constantly in your head.
For me, it's a refuge. It really is a refuge from the city. To us, it's such a huge luxury to have this place. We sometimes can't believe it. Even after all these years, we still can't believe that we have this amazing place to come to whenever we want.
This retro retreat on wheels will take you on a trip back in time.
Well, when we go camping, we really like to keep that mid-century feeling alive.
Anyone up for hot dogs and a game of Battleship?
I'm Shermie.
And I'm Fraser.
And this is our retreat.
Who says a retreat can't be an adorably small vintage 1960s trailer?
But before we show you this, come see the inside of our house.
For this young married couple, it's about to make perfect sense.
And this is our home.
Shermie clearly loves all things retro, from mid-century design to playful kitsch and bold color.
Most of the furniture in here is from the 40s, 50s, and 60s.
Our home is definitely a retro home in every sense of the word.
And I love, there's sort of an innocence about the time period. People had fun doing simpler things. It was a simpler time.
The trailer is definitely an extension of our home and our personal style and what we like.
It's just a little bit smaller.
Our trailer is a 1967 Fleetwing. and it's a canned ham, and it is fully restored.
I'm pretty sure it's called a canned ham because it looks like a can of ham.
The kind that you put
You
the
know,
key
the
in
key
and
in.
roll up. It was not such good shape when we found it, but it is totally usable now.
We ripped everything out inside and we refurbished the whole thing.
So, when the weekend comes, these two love nothing more than hooking up their vintage trailer and hitting the open road.
When we leave home with the trailer, it's relief. You can just go and be relaxed. You'll be driving down the highway and you'll see people look out the window like, as you go by, craning their head around. Did I really just see that?
You know, sometimes we just wing it and it's just fun. It's just fun to be away from everything. It's the best way to get away.
Getting away often means wherever they decide to park the trailer and set up camp. A few simple steps later, and they're ready for a weekend of relaxation. Don't get too comfortable. Let's get a closer look at this beauty.
The original colors of the trailer are what you see now. From the ground up, it has been totally taken apart, stripped bare, repainted. So the awning is custom made. It didn't originally come with one, and the fringe is Sherm's favorite part, as well as these lights, which we found yard sailing, I might add. We've added a 12-volt system to run our lights, furnace, and fridge, which replaced the original ice box.
I love that the trailer's authentic, and I also love that it's ours and we can make it what we want. We can make it like home away from home. Okay, so let's show you the inside of the trailer. This is the bedroom, this is the kitchen, and this is the eating area over here. We have lots of room for our groceries and pots and pans and everything like that, and we have extra sturdy clasps on the doors so they don't fly open when we're driving. Not saying that doesn't happen once in a while. The sink and the stove are also original pieces, and that is the original color. The backsplash was not original to the trailer, but I had one custom made and I think it looks great. I made these curtains, yes. It was kind of a dream come true when I found this fabric. And this is the dining room. And this is where we have our meals, if we don't eat outside. Of course, the cutlery is my favorite color.
And now for the burning question. How does this become a bed for two?
So we sleep in well, it's actually a couch right now, but it pulls out into a bed. Now it's a bed.
Perfectly big if you're less than 6 feet tall, but it does look comfy.
It's very comfortable to sleep in if I get it set up right. So you're not leaning to one side or the other.
If it's level.
I came up with these. It's just a matter of 2-3 minutes. Trailer's down, level, and we're relaxed.
This is my very important closet. It was a necessity when we rebuilt the trailer. So I'm able to bring everything I want to wear and hang it up so it doesn't get wrinkly. So just a couple pieces I packed for the trip. Very nice castle print skirt, my daisy print skirt or dress. This is my bathing suit cover-up. I don't dress any different than I normally would when we go camping. I don't really look at it as roughing it. I just wear whatever I want.
It's more glamping.
I hate that term. Well, when we go camping, we really like to keep that mid-century feeling alive by just keeping it simple. We like to do simple things, like we play games, and I always like to make potato salad, and just fun things like that.
I think the thing we love the most about it is that we can hook up, go somewhere, and we have everything we need with us.
Yeah, and our own bed.
Just enjoy where we are and what we're doing.
Yeah.
If you need to pull over, you can
pull over and have a sandwich while you're driving, you know. I would get tired of being in the same place every vacation. With a trailer, we're able to hook on and go wherever we want.
Retro cool to a dated dream house on a faraway island, bought sight unseen.
This was a big act of faith, an act of faith in our future and in each other. I'm Victoria.
And I'm John.
And this is our retreat.
If you think having pet goats is a little different, wait until you hear the story of how this couple ended up here, goats and all. Victoria is an artist, painter, and sculptor, and her husband John, a photographer. About a year ago, they made a spontaneous decision to leave the big city and travel across Canada to this small West Coast island called Salt Spring. So how and why did this happen? You could say it was like a dream come true. Literally.
Before you knew the name of the place, you had a dream.
About a year and a half ago or so, I had a very lucid dream. I was on an island. I just knew the name of the island was Salt Spring. I knew it was on the west side of Canada. I dreamt the name Ganges, and I was buying a house, and I knew I was supposed to be there. I remember waking up in the morning and looking it up right away on a computer. And there was Salt Spring, and there was Ganges, and it was a real place. And I phoned John, and I said, I've had this dream, it has to happen. And he kind of went, what are you talking about? And I showed it to him, and he said, great, I'm in, and we made it happen. And I never saw the house. The first time I ever saw this property was the day we took possession. It was fantastic. And I've never regretted it.
A lot of people that I've told that story to were amazed that my wife trusted me enough to choose the house. So it's worked out well, and sometimes you just have to
trust.
You have to trust. You just have to, you know, it's a roll of the dice, and you get lucky.
This was a big act of faith, an act of faith in our future and in each other.
All that said, the house was still a bit of a surprise to Victoria.
The house was a 70s nightmare that was built in the 80s. So as you've noticed, we're walking on beautiful subflooring, but we just completed removing 6 different kinds of carpeting from here with an ice pick because it was glued down. Every wall was color blocked in a different color. And where they had taken out a wall or changed a wall, they left for us the screws hanging in the ceiling. Well, this house really needed a lot of work, a lot of love and updating. This is our living room. I have very eclectic taste, and some is 1950s, some pieces are English, some pieces are Italian, some pieces are from France, literally, some pieces are from China, and just things that they should provoke an idea or a conversation.
There are many examples of Victoria's art all over this house, with John being one of her favorite subjects.
I paint John a lot. He's a good muse. He sits very still. He's good.
He's immobile.
Yeah.
To the point of death.
So this is my kitchen, and it houses my collection of things. For example, this is my guilty secret. This is part of it. There's another room as bad as this. And most of this copper comes from France because they have the best cookware in the world. Clearly I have a problem, right? But John enjoys the spoils, so that's okay too.
2 other crucial parts of Victoria's vision was having a separate space for her art studio and for her animals.
The goats were a bit of a surprise to me.
Well, oh, that's right.
I don't think that was mentioned in the dream.
Based on a vivid dream she had, Victoria and her husband John bought this house and moved across Canada to start a new life here on the beautiful and eclectic community of Salt Spring Island off BC's west coast.
It really is nature in its original form. It can be overwhelming. It's so much greener and lusher and bigger and things back home.
This is my studio. It used to be a boat garage, boathouse, and I've turned it into my workspace. Okay, so here we are in my studio space. This side of the building is for fine art, painting, portraiture, that sort of thing. The other side of the building is mostly for sculpture, metal sculpture, clay sculpture. So here's an example, I think, of how being on an island in the Pacific has changed my art, because I'm not traditionally a landscape painter at all, so forgive the technique. This is a barn down the street from me, just literally an acre over, and it inspired me to do this piece. It is how Salt Spring has taken root. I'm loving the studio. I'm loving the space. I had a big studio before, but not quite this large. Working here on an island as opposed to a metropolitan city has done two things for me in a very positive way. One, the camaraderie of other artists is spectacular here. The second part, which is funny for me, is there's an Ooga Booga quality to this island. Ooga Booga, you know, out there. And I'm kind of like that, so I love it.
And a third thing is that being here inspired Victoria and John to adopt some animals they never would have had in the city.
This is Crunch, this is Munch, and these are the two hens, Gertrude and Lawrence. I always knew I'd have goats, and I always knew I was going to call them Crunch and Munch. I always knew that. I always knew. Isn't that true? We were talking about the goats.
The goats were a bit of a surprise to me.
Well, oh, that's right.
I don't think that was mentioned in the dream.
They're just amazing. They're like having big dogs around with a big appetite.
That's what they do all day long. They eat, 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 and they do a heck of a job when you let them out. They just clear an area. I haven't touched a lawnmower in a year. They mow the grass, they eat the shrubs. They work very hard all day long.
And they get along with other animals. Like, look, it's the, you know, we're not having a constant le domestique here.
The chickens, of course, also have a purpose.
Do we want to go look at see if we have an egg? Yes. We have an egg, brown egg, laid by one of the hens. Was this yours? We don't know which, but we usually get one egg per hen per day, and that's where they just come in and lay.
There was never a gram of regret when I saw the house. First, I think you have to have humor with life. You have to accept what is. It's really like a metaphor for life, that you sometimes have to change as an act of faith to breathe life back into your spirit.
Hi, I'm Alan.
And I'm Sheila.
And this is our retreat.
Alan and Sheila Hickok have been married for close to 50 years, and this one-of-a-kind retreat, a rustic family compound of 7 different buildings, is where Alan has been coming since he was a boy.
This started out as a hunt camp, and it's on a fairly large lake. The lake has been converted from a hunting lake now to mostly a summer resort area. But we're holding on to the old traditions. My grandfather bought it in about 1926, so we've been up here for going on 90 years. The camp's called Totem Lodge.
This 3-acre property gets its name from the totem poles hand-carved by family members, many as old as the buildings themselves.
This is the old school. I mean, it's a different way of life. It's like stepping back in time. Totem Lodge, which we also call main camp, consists of about 7 buildings. We've got the main Totem Lodge. We've got the Bat House, my dad's place, the Alan Hickok House, the Ice House, the Guest Cabin, the Ray Hickok House, the Boys Cabin, and then Alan's Roost down by the lake. That might even be 8, I'm not sure.
Too many to count. So where to begin? Let's start with the historic family gathering spot, the main Totem Lodge.
This is the main original hunt camp building. It's now become a living room. This is the front porch to it. This is where everybody congregates on summer evening to enjoy the view of the lake. Come on inside and we'll take a look and see what this place was like back in the 20s. So this is the main living room of the original hunt camp. As you can see, my family was a big hunting family. Most of these trophies are either my dad's or my uncle's or my grandfather's, except for the buffalo. The buffalo was a gift, and so was the turtle shell a gift.
And apparently, his father didn't only hunt land animals.
You'll see a picture of it. It is a picture of my father landing a black marlin down in Cabo Blanco, Peru. And it was the second largest fish ever caught on rod and reel at the time, 1,540 pounds. My dad's a 6-footer and he is dwarfed by the fish.
So, was Alan Jr. a hunter as well?
No, Dad never took us hunting. The closest I got to hunting was shooting pheasants, which I missed, by the way, but The fireplace was probably built around the 20s, and the stonework is very similar to the stonework that was in some of the big resort hotels of that era. This is my grandfather. He was the one that started it all. He came up here in 1926. We've been coming up here ever since, and we're trying to make it 100 years.
Behind the living room is the old camp kitchen and pantry. And then this passageway between buildings leads you into the main family dining room.
So here we have the master dining room. This is where the family used to get together to have their family meals. This is a Kodiak bear, which was shot by my father back in the 50s. He was a world class, probably 1,500 pounds. He was actually hunting that bear in grass that was over his head. Not too smart. Anyhow, supposedly the bear stood up and he was only about 12 feet away, and they had time for one shot, and he had a good shot. So here's a good example of some of the totem poles that we carved. We carved many of them. I say we. It was my father, my uncle, and my grandfather and grandmother. These were all carved well before I was even thinking about totem poles. My grandmother was quite artistic. They were not Western totems. They were totems with animals from around this area, stuff like that. Totems have been a focus of the family up here. My uncle continued to carve well into his 70s.
The unique features keep on coming. Past the stuffed Florida panther is the entrance to the sleeping area.
Well, it's not a secret door. It's a surprise to most people until you open it. And this is where they would spend their summers, right here. As you can see, it's a nice view out to the lake. We've got the mosquito netting because this thing isn't exactly sealed from the outside completely. Again, you see my grandfather's picture. He's here in spirit for sure. Not much has changed since 1926. We've had some repairs to the fireplace, and that's about it.
Next to the main lodge is the only building that predates Allen's family. It was built in the early 1900s, and it's known as the Bat House.
It's interesting because it's probably the only house that's never had bats inside, but they lived on the outside, and that's why they were called the Bat House.
This is the covered porch. It's the place where Alan and I like to spend most of our time. It's our hub. We read and eat here and just enjoy looking at the beautiful view of the lake. When it gets really buggy, I hang these up, and this is where I take my siesta, and on really hot nights in the summer, I actually sleep out here in my hammock. This is the original house on the property, built in 1908, and used to be several small rooms, and we decided to open it up. As you will notice, there are lots of animal trophies throughout the different buildings, and that is as close to an animal trophy as is going to get in here.
In the corner of the property, close to the water, is the Ray Hickok House, so named as it belongs to Allen's Uncle Ray.
This is the original portion of the Ray Hickok building. It was an ex-trapper's cabin that was brought over on ice skids. The foundation has shifted, and therefore we can't use the fireplace anymore, so we've made it into a bed headstand. As Ray's family expanded, they needed more room. This became the central living area for Ray. As you can see from the trophies, Ray spent time hunting in Africa. Some of these mounts are 40, 50, 60 years old, and they seem to have aged well. They had good taxidermists.
And that doesn't even cover half the buildings on this property. There's still Allen's father's house, rebuilt after a fire destroyed the original, the guest cabin with its handmade bunk beds, what's called the boys' cabin, and the original ice house, now transformed into a cozy bunkie. But fear not, there's no risk of this place changing anytime soon.
Well, we keep it the way it is because this is what we grew up in. Totem Lodge is special, at least to me, because it's like stepping back in time. I mean, you can walk into the buildings and you knew what it was like in the 20s and the 30s and the 40s.
The world changes, cities change, people change, but one thing that does not change is constant, and that's the view from the front porch of Totem Lodge.
A retreat built by a disciple of Frank Lloyd Wright was designed with its gorgeous Pacific Coast setting in mind.
From the enclosed entrance, what you have is this embrace to the outside. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Jane.
And this
is our retreat.
This expansive 4,000 square foot oceanfront retreat belongs to Americans Michelle Dockerly and Jane Hickey, who first discovered this place, a beautiful Gulf island in British Columbia, Canada, while on a vacation 14 years ago. It was an encounter that would end up having a significant impact on their lives.
We live in Texas. At the time that we came here, we were on a hiking, biking, sea kayaking trip to the Gulf Islands, and it was a magical place.
And I said, let's go back to that little island and rent a place. So we did, and after a week, we said, let's go look at real estate. We did, and the realtor said, you have to see this house. It's a Schubart. And we said, what's a Schubart? Yeah. And she said, a local architect who studied with Frank Lloyd Wright.
The house is a great example of West Coast modern architecture, all cedar and glass. At the time, it needed a lot of maintenance and updates, but it still made an impression.
And in 5 minutes in that house, I said to Jane, we're getting this. Now it could have turned into something like the movie The Money Pit. But instead, it turned into a love affair with the house and ultimately with the architect who built the house.
The late architect was an American named Hank Schubart, who moved his family from California to Salt Spring Island in the late 60s. He subsequently built not only this house, but 230 other projects and homes on the island in the 30 years he was here.
We were so enchanted with the story of Hank Schubart and these remarkable homes that we ended up writing a book on Hank Schubart called Houses Made of Wood and Light.
On approach, the house has a large overhanging roof and looks like a single story tucked into the landscape, an impression that quickly changes upon entry.
And this is the main living area of the house. From the enclosed entrance, what you have is this embrace to the outside. The railings, this is very much an element of Hank Schubart with the railing and then the glass center, so it looks as though you are looking into a picture frame. It's a wonderful feature.
The contemporary use of exposed cedar beams and walls of glass is signature Schubart, and according to Michelle, he was also the first to introduce skylights to this island back in the 60s. Behind the living room is the kitchen, which didn't look quite like this when they bought it.
When we bought this house, the decor was dated, but the house was contemporary. All it needed was a facelift, and we gave it that.
This 2-level, 3-bedroom house was designed so that the owners can live on the main floor and guests have their own spaces on the lower floor, including their own access to the outside. And this is what they call the owner's suite on the top level of the house.
And it is a self-contained suite of a bedroom, a bathroom/dressing room, a library, and an activity room, kind of an office space. It is a wonderful retreat within the house itself.
The luxurious ensuite bathroom was remodeled to include a spacious closet and dressing area, a sink area, and built-in tub and shower. This room was also totally remodeled. Believe it or not, it used to house an indoor pool. They simply covered it over.
And this leads then straight into what had been a hot tub room and is now a much more functional library. And I think this is my favorite room.
So, while the integrity of Schubart's original design has remained intact, Jane and Michelle have definitely made changes that make it their own.
This room in our house was the boathouse, but now it's my studio. I like painting pictures of people. This is a painting that I did of Maggie Schubart, Hank Schubart's wife of many years, whom we spent Tuesday afternoons with through the last years of her life. And I adored her.
And the best part of this former boathouse turned studio?
What we love is we open the door and there's the ocean.
This house is located in very protected moorage. It's as though we have our own private harbor within a harbor. And for summer, this island paradise really becomes our home. And of course, our friends from Texas will beat a path up here to see us.
Yeah.
And today is no exception. There are no less than 3 visitors from Texas who are enjoying their host's gracious southern hospitality.
We love to entertain. We cook, and we do that in this house. And we serve them things we have made.
Michelle makes these fabulous jams, pickles, chutneys. As you can see, Michelle has been busy for the fall fair.
I never thought I'd be so domestic as to be preserving things.
A retreat is a place of utter joy, and that's what this place is for us.
Texas is wonderful, but this home on this island, in this community, is the center of our existence. And it is the place where people follow us to most. And to good friends.
Good friends. And new friends, too.
Yeah.
From the wild West Coast to wild women.
Call the plumber, these pipes are gonna burst.
It's girls' weekend at the cottage.
Who needs a drink? My name is Liz, and this is our retreat.
Liz Doris is a yoga instructor, wife, and mom. This charming island getaway is where she and her husband Randy and their 2 kids, Matthew and Maya, enjoy happy, tranquil, fun-filled summers.
My husband and I purchased the cottage in 1996, so we've been coming up here for about 19 years. We've decided as a family to keep it device-free. We don't bring our laptops, we don't use our cell phones up here, we don't have a television. It's, I think, important to spend time in nature and just connecting with your family. But this weekend is a little different. This weekend is the girls' retreat. This is the weekend where the boys are at home with the kids. It's time for the girls to just let loose, let their hair down, be silly, have fun.
Is this something that Liz is looking forward to?
Oh my God, honestly, it is absolutely one of my favorite weekends of the whole summer. I talked to my husband, I'm like, I can't wait till they get here. Yeah, it's the truth.
Okay, so before 5 more women arrive and things get crazy, how about a quick tour of the island?
It's a 1-acre island, and it's on a beautiful big lake. The island is in the shape of a circle, and right in the middle of the island is our cottage, so it's nice and sheltered on hot days. We also have a guest house, which used to be the ice house. Now we use it as a bunkie, a guest bunkie. And this is our main cottage, and it was built in the early 1930s, and what I love about it is it's so rustic and warm, and it's super cute. And this is our living room. This is the place where we hang out as a family most of the time, and one of our favorite features of the cottage is this stone fireplace. So this is the part that was built in around 1932-33, and everything's original. So the wood is original, and it gives it such a warm and rustic feel. That's what I love about this room. So there are only 2 bedrooms in this cottage, and they're right off the living room. This one over here, my husband and I sleep in this bedroom, and then we have double bunks for the kids in the other bedroom. So it's cozy. And so on this side, this was built in the 60s, and this is just the bathroom, the kitchen, and the dining room. So this is one of the favorite rooms of the whole cottage, and this is our dining room. When the girls get here, this table will be covered with delicious food and lots of wine and lots of great conversation and lots of laughs.
The beauty of owning a small island is you get to take advantage of the sun morning, noon, and night. So they have a breakfast dock on one side of the island.
I love to meditate down here in the morning and practice my yoga.
And a sunset dock on the other side.
I just love the wide open vista.
And even in the shade of the trees, there's fun to be had.
Right in the center of the island, we have lots of activities. This is one of our favorite activities. It's called a slackline. It is a tightrope, and it challenges your balance. My kids are wonderful at it. My husband and I work really hard at it, but we're not so good. And then over here, my husband built a treehouse for the kids, and off of the treehouse, he built a zip line. So it's not just for kids, though. It's for adults, too, and we have lots of fun on the zip line. When the girls come to the cottage, we like to get on the slack line, we like to get on the zip lines. It is nothing but silliness and fun. This is my favorite spot on the island, and I call this hammock enlightenment. Just lie here for hours and listen to the birds and the wind. Fall asleep.
But Liz's Zen time is about to be over.
It's really quiet here right now, but things are about to change.
This idyllic island retreat, owned by yogi Liz Doris, is about to play host to a long-standing tradition, Girls' Weekend.
They're here! Woohoo! Woohoo!
These 5 ladies know how to arrive in style. And they certainly come prepared. I think they're only staying for one night. And now it's official. Girls' Weekend is on.
Woo! We made it!
Awesome, Liz.
Who needs a drink? This is one of my favorite weekends of the whole year. I'm so excited they're here. We're gonna have lots of fun. So it's not as zen as it normally is around here anymore. There's lots of laughing and there's lots of activity. Now that they're here, I think we all want to have a little bit of time doing some yoga. And then we'll get on the zip line. And eat lots of great food.
Bravo!
I think we've got enough food to last us more than one night. These women are all professionals and they're all mums, and what I love seeing is that they leave their lists to do at home and they come and they just let their hair down and have lots of fun.
Call the plumber, these pipes are gonna burst!
The difference between a normal weekend with my family and this weekend is it is a lot louder.
Girls' Weekend! Hey, wait, who's got the kids?
To me, a girls' retreat is really important. Women, I think, are really the glue that helps to hold the family together, and I love sharing the island. This is a time where they can really relax and unwind. I fall in love with this cottage, this retreat more every single year, and I can't imagine my life without it.